it's MK, and I am here with a mixed media mayhem recipe for you guys today. I am also combining this with Kit Conspiracy. I am going to be creating a 1 photo layout today, but I'm only making it an 8.5 by 11. So the recipe for today is washi tape, an animal, and some sort of metallic. So I will be adding in the washi and adding in the animal, and then I almost forgot to add in the metallic. So, but it does come in at the very end. It's microscopic and you'll barely see it, but I do get it in the end. So I'm just going through, excuse me, I am just going to go through all of my scraps from this collection as of yet. Now, I did make all of these layouts out of order because yesterday I had no papers whatsoever except for the 2 that I used on the layout. And then today you see all of these really cool scraps. So what I'm going to be doing is challenging myself. So everything that I'm picking is over on the right, and everything that I don't think will work with what I'm going for will be on the left. But what I'm looking for is all things warm. So I'm looking for all the warm colors. This is an Easter layout. My daughter went over to a friend's house and they decided to color eggs. And she and her friend took a picture of her coloring eggs and sent it to me. And so I thought it was the sweetest thing ever. But I definitely wanted to challenge myself by pulling out the warm colors. So I love this butterfly paper. Oh my gosh, it is just gorgeous. And it's so my daughter. So I was going to see if that worked. But in all honesty, this tiny little yellow and pink flowers work better for the photo. So, and this green paper, I love that too. Which you've already seen what I've done with it, so it's not like it's a surprise. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this white paper down to 8.5 by 11. Now, at this point, I had no idea what I was going to do until I put my 2 pieces together. And then I realized I didn't even need my 8.5 by 11. Nope, not one bit. So at first I was going to bring in that sticker, and then I remembered, oh, I was supposed to use washi. So I'm going to pull out my washi, and it is a very old, close to my heart, I believe, washi. I believe. Don't quote me on that. But it is old product. So I had to fight it a little bit. It kept getting stuck on the edge. Other than that, it peeled off its roll beautifully, even though it is uber old. And then I pulled out a punch. So I'm going to punch a border as soon as I remember how to punch a border. You have to open up the little trigger things so that way they're not compacted anymore. And there is my border punch. So I love that. So I got my washi on there. And this is where I realized I did not need my 8.5 by 11 cardstock. I just cut it down for no reason, except that now that I had this scrap to, punch my washi border out of. Oh, and then I do want to save. At first I thought, well, am I going to use the entire strip of stripes? And I was like, no, maybe I'll use them on another layout. So I'm going to go ahead and cut 1 inch off and only put 2 inches on this page, and save the other stripes for another layout, which I'm not sure if I do use them or I don't. Same with this other paper. I just went ahead and did the math at how much I was going to need, because the washi tape is going to cover up any seams that there are visible. So I don't have to worry about that. And then normally what I do for an 8.5 by 11 scrap layout like this is I put everything together at 12 inches and then I just cut that 1 inch off. It's not really going to matter. I did not put enough, or I put too much tape on, so I'm just covering up the other side with, oh, look, more washi. Does that count, even though it's on the back side of my layout? I think it should, but it's probably not. So, anywho, I'm going to go ahead and cut it down to 11 now that I've got my 8 inches, and I went ahead and just set that other cardstock off to the side. I'm not too upset about the fact that I cut that down because I do make quite a bit of 8.5 by 11 layouts. And I have quite a bit more to do on, in my album that I'm working on. It is April. Yes, it is April of 2023. I should be started on my 2022 album. I'm nowhere near finished with all the layouts that I wanted to do in 2021. Like I said, we were making up for all things COVID, and definitely have a huge album. I think I'm up to 8 albums in 2021, and I'm not done yet. Just saying, I need to go to IKEA and get a new cupboard for my albums. Yep. All right, so I cut that 2x2 cut apart down, and then I pulled out a piece of wax paper so that way I could gather up all these tiny word stickers that I wanted to put in this layout. Like I said, I'm reaching for all things warm. Beauty is everywhere, or I'm in everything, something like that. That is what I'm going to be using for my title. And then I really wish that did not say shine bright. That is not my favoritist saying in the whole wide world, you guys. But that yellow flower would have worked perfect on this layout. And then that sticker that I just put down with the yellow and pink flowers, that matches too well to this paper. So I definitely don't use that. Moving on to I think this one is my small little jar or cup. And then this is my mini cup of all things mini. And I pulled out butterflies for my animal for Mixed Media Mayhem. Now, where's the mixed media? The mixed media, just because it's mixed media, does not mean that it has to be messy or painty or inky or anything. Mixing your product is what mixed media means. Now, it probably started out as I'm going to mix paint with, watercolor paint with acrylic paint, or gelatos with acrylic, or something like that. It definitely had a meaning before scrapbookers took it over in art journaling and all that stuff. It definitely probably had a different one. But to be honest, in scrapbooking, mixing your media. So our recipe today doesn't have any of the inking or the painting or the spraying or any of that stuff. It's washi tape and an animal and what was the last one? Metallic. See, I keep forgetting metallic. It will show up, I promise. So what I'm doing is I'm building the base. I really wanted to use some more of these cut out flowers from that paper that I fussy cut the whole thing of, but I'm not going to get them to work. I don't really like the black in the background as of yet. But I do find enough flowers in the chipboard to make them all work. And they pop up my daughter's photo, so I really didn't have to use foam. I do later, and I do end up using one of those black background flowers. But I like the chipboard behind my photos because then it just gives me a little bit of lift without a lot of lift. So I really like that. I'm going to take some of these postage stamps and rough up the edges and tuck them here and there where I feel like they're missing something. So I do all of this work, you guys. I set up the entire layout, but I feel like it's getting lost in the background. I feel like everything that I just put behind my daughter's photo is blending in too much. So I'm thinking, my brain is going to work as to how can I make this happen. So I ink my tag with black. Well, that just does not do it for me. So I'm going to add my animals before I forget. I'm going to fussy cut out the butterflies from the cut apart sheet, the trio of butterflies, and then I think I fussy cut another butterfly, that yellow one, just from the die cut pack. And here's where I make the bold decision. I'm going to put black hazing around all of my stuff. Yep, I took black soot in oxide because oxide is a little softer black than the black soot ink. So I went with oxide, and I am going to go for it. I'm going to follow my outline and just barely go outside my outline. I don't want big, huge black blob on the backside of my background. And in my brain, I'm secretly going, did I just mess this up? I hope not. In all honesty, I really hope this turns out the way that I am envisioning it, the way that I want it. I put the first piece down and I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, this was a bold move for me. Like, oh my stars. I can't believe I did this, but I love the effect that this has. Now everything pops off the page. It looks like it's a shadow on the page. I am so in love with this and just excited about this layout now because these aren't my typical colors that I play with, but they are most definitely coming together nicely. They really are. I just love it. So I just want to extend this upper decoration. And I think what I'm going to end up doing, so I tested out a postage stamp. It was too small. I tested out the flowers. They blended in. So I'm going to put this slide window on and put it, because I can take the slide window and actually put it more on the orange. And that way it's not too big of a cluster up at the top. I really didn't have enough room for what I'm doing to begin with, but I liked the combination of what was going on up there. So I'm definitely going to just go ahead and add the slide window, but I do need to add a little bit of black hazing around the slide window because as you can see, when it fell off the tag that's up there, it doesn't really show. It went back to blending into the background. So I'm going to haze it here in a bit once I finish putting down my cluster. And I need to figure out where I need to add my foam dots because I've got a lot of chipboard underneath my photo. And so I am just guesstimating where I should put all of my foam for behind my photo. And so what I do is I just go, okay, here, and then I put it back, smush it down. Oh, I need it there, smush it back, all that good stuff. So yeah, it's a scientific process, you guys. Scientific process of guesstimating where all this stuff goes. I am so super stoked with how this layout came together. So I'm going to put the title on real quick. I'm going to make sure that the upper portion of the B goes in the dead space between all the cups and the eggs. So I thought that was it was like made for that title. It really, really was. And I love how you can still see everything behind it. You can still see the banner piece. You can still see the flowers, all that stuff. And I'm going to have butterflies flying up on the left side. So it goes from big, medium, and then eventually I'll get a small one up there. And then I think I only have the two butterflies, or the one butterfly on the right side of the photo, but then I have that pink one up in the upper portion of the layout. So definitely different for me, you guys. I really enjoyed creating this layout, but it was also thanks to all the elements. All the elements went together so well. They layered up really well. I did not have to worry about hardly anything. The only thing that I really struggled with was the fact that, my pieces were getting lost. And once I added that black, it was like, what? That's awesome. I just really am stoked. So I'm going to go ahead and finally get to that upper tag and very, very, very carefully go ahead and put a black hazing around the window, the slide window, and then add this little piece that just says happy memories. And then I'm trying to figure out where this pink flower can live just to use it up. I'm using all things pink and yellow on this layout, and so I wanted to make sure that I put as many as I could because I don't have anything else that really matches within this collection. Now I could definitely put it with other things, but I know that sticker's not going to go because that sticker it's just too matchy. I know, isn't that weird? I just said I wanted to use it all because it matches, but the sticker's too matchy. Almost forgot about my tiny words that I wanted to spread throughout all of my little clusters. And so I've got smile that came on top of a chipboard. And then the next one up at the top, You know, I can't even read them. I'm not even going to try. Yeah, I'm not even going to try. But just tiny little words that blended in really well. I do like the addition of that one on top of the butterfly instead of just found a spot to have it hang over. And then I decided to add some bees, you guys. So I'm adding another animal because I thought that they were the cutest little things ever. Those bees are so adorable. But I still forgot, I still have not remembered that I need to put metallic on. So I'm going to cut out this really tiny butterfly from one of the postage stamps because I think I need something up at the very top of my cluster just to cover up that center of the flowers. I wasn't a big fan of any of the center of the flowers. They were almost too big for these types of flowers. I don't know. I'm not a flower person. You know, as far as like, I know all things flowers. So here's where I'm going to add my metallic. I pulled out some of these little metallic, I don't even know, I think they're called gemstones or something, but they're metallic dots from Stampin' Up! Years ago, you guys, years. And it's a black metallic. So I can't even tell you how it works. But they came on a whole sheet of goodies and stuff, and they were just the perfect touch for this layout. So that is my metallic for this piece. Like I said, it's microscopic, little. But I love how this layout turned out. I hope you guys enjoyed the process of putting it together. I cannot thank you enough for hanging out with me today or this whole week. I had a blast playing with Simple Stories, Simple Vintage Life in Bloom collection. I have nothing left but embellishments. So join me next week, as well as Janet Fritz from Galaxy Girl Creations. We are going to be playing again with the 49 and Market Spectrum Sherbert collection. But be sure to check out Janet's channel so that way you can see how she used her Life in Bloom collection. And thank you so much for hanging out with me on Mixed Media Mayhem. If you're interested in more, I will hook up 2 videos right here for you. And again, thank you so much, and I'll check y'all later. Bye!